Hello, everyone. It's Danny here from Pioneer Wellbeing, and welcome to this fantastic interview that I have lined up for you today with the lovely Luana Giordano from Highest Connection. And she's going to talk to us about QHHT and what it is and what it's like to be a QHHT practitioner. So, welcome, Luana.
Thank you, Dani. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, why don't you give us a little bit of a background about yourself, Luana, and how you've come to be a QHHT practitioner?
Goodness, do you have 4 hours? All right. As you can hear from my accent and my name, I'm originally from Italy. I moved to Australia when I was 29, so 11 years ago now.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and it's been the best choice of my life.
Fantastic.
Um, I feel I found myself or in Australia, or that Australia has given me the opportunity to heal myself so much and remove so much of all the layers that we put on growing up and society put on us, that I could finally find the real me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Growing up, I felt I never fit in, that I was different. That was partially, sorry, true because my family is from south of Italy and I grew up in North Italy. So, culturally, they're very different.
Hmm.
I couldn't fit in the north because I was from the south. And even when I went to the south, I couldn't fit with them because my way of living was more from the north. So it was a very bizarre feeling. But also within my own family, yeah, I always felt, I always looked at my family and my parents thinking, oh my gosh, who are those people?
Wow. And do you have siblings? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, so I grew up with a brother, and later on, after 16 years, a sister came along.
Wow.
I always
Okay.
felt that I had been adopted. Like I wasn't, I mean, I look like my parents, but yeah, I always thought, oh, anytime now, any night, they will sit on the dinner table and they will tell me, Luana, we have to tell you you've been adopted. Which,
Wow. So you felt that much different than your
oh,
family?
very, very, very much. So I was, scared of the dark because in the dark things would happen all the time,
Mm.
hearing things, seeing things, and yeah. On one hand, I always had the spiritual support and the spiritual guides there, mentoring me, but there were also the not so pleasant ones. So it was, and I didn't have anyone in the physical world to mentor me. And
So your family didn't really have that same spiritual experience that you were having.
maybe they did, but it was I don't know, it was very taboo and frowned upon, and Italy is also very Catholic religion. The religion is very strong, and yeah,
Mm.
there's a lot of resistance. So yeah, anyway, things things evolved. I grew up, met my husband. We weren't happy about Italy any longer. We decided that it was time to look for a better place, and I chose I chose Mackay from Italy.
Okay. Well, we're very lucky that you're here, that we're very lucky that you're here with us.
Yeah, my husband always says she's been the ward and stop there, but I don't know. I felt at the time that Mackay had everything that I was looking for. Years later, I now realize that Mackay called me here for many reasons, and one for my own healing. Yes.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about QHHT and what attracted it to you to it in the first place, or how did you hear about it?
Yes.
What is QHHT as well? So if you want to tell us, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so QHHT stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique and was developed by Dolores Cannon, incredible woman who is in the spirit world now, but oh, she's still guiding us.
She certainly is. She certainly is. Wonderful woman.
She was a pioneer in hypnosis, especially in past life regression. Over her 40 years of experience, she realized that her clients were reaching a very deep state of trance or hypnosis. It's called the somnambulistic level, where something bigger than their normal subconscious, bigger than their conscious mind was speaking through them. And we call it, the higher self, the soul, the oneness, the universe, whatever, the Holy Spirit, whatever name it
Whatever
feels
resonates with you.
resonates. I tend to use the word higher self because most people know what that is.
Me too, actually. I use higher self a lot as well.
Yeah. But see, I like the way of calling them the highest connections. That's why I chose the name for my business or my company, because it's like picking up the phone and reaching the highest connections possible, the highest connections.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now I will share the screen with one of Dolores's books that had a bit of an impact on you, I believe. Let's
Yeah, so I was at a local crystal ball meditations. One night, and I was talking with the lady who runs these crystal balls meditations, and I was telling her about the fact that I felt that I was being adopted, that I didn't feel like I fit in, that humans are very weird. Like I didn't get them. I've grown up since then, so I feel a bit more mature and I can understand better because I understand myself better. So when I said to her, I grew up believing that I had been adopted, she went and pull out a book and give it to me and say, you need to read this. And it was The 3 Ways of Volunteers and the New Earth by Dolores Cannon.
It's a fantastic book. You recommended that to me, and I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful book.
Oh, lo and behold, I get emotional even thinking about it because, it talked about me. It talked like all the feelings that I had about myself and my life, and it was just me to a T. And I couldn't believe there were thousands of people on this planet feeling the same. Like I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only weirdo. Yeah, and so in the book, Dolores talks about the 3 ways of volunteers and her QHHT sessions, and I just knew I had to learn the technique and practice it myself. And so I did. So that was at the beginning of the lockdowns for COVID. So I don't know, maybe it was a blessing.
It gave you a bit of time to learn.
Right, but also because up to that point they were very strict, and everybody had to learn in person. But because we were all in lockdown, we couldn't do that. But the academy still wanted to train people and give this amazing gifted opportunity to everybody. So they opened up the first online training. That's what I did, the first ever online training.
Wow.
And I had the opportunity to enroll. And, when personally, financially, family-wise, it was not the right time. But the money magically appeared, and it was online, so I didn't have to take time from my family. And so it was just perfect. Fantastic. And the other cool thing that I really liked is that because Dolores had passed away in 2016, all the in-person classes were done with level 3 practitioners, which is great.
Mm.
but I really did want to learn from her. And these online courses are recording of her classes. So it was like
Wow,
learning directly
fantastic.
from her. Yes. Yeah, so that's what I did. I did my first level, and to receive your certificate and be recognized and as a practitioner, you need to train on 25 people. And for me, it was very important because I have a very strong sense of ethics and integrity that I had to experience this before I could, practice on someone else. Off we went to the Gold Coast, and I found a
Ah,
practitioner there, which I connected with on the phone, and then I booked an appointment, and I had my first session when I finished my theory training and before I started my practical, and it was a life-changing experience.
wow. Wow. And what's the name of the training academy like that you did your training through? What's the name of that one?
You know why now you got me off
That's
guard.
okay. We can after the video we can put a link below
Yeah,
to the name of that, but
if you
it's
go on QHHT officials, there is a directory there for the
okay.
academy and where to learn. Yeah. So
So is
it's
there's academies like all over the world that would teach it? Yeah?
no, well, now there is this online academy, and you learn from the online academy, which is in USA. And then
Okay.
the second level, which I did, I think I was a year after that, is again, the majority is online. And again, it's recording of Dolores Cannon teaching level 2 and answering lots and lots of questions. There is hours and hours of material.
Wow.
And then uh, during this process, because it's hypnotherapy or kind of hypnotherapy, we use an induction, and you need to practice this induction with a level 3 QHHT practitioner that can, define your voice or, help you really fix everything so it's perfect, and then you can, go on and you are a level 2 practitioner.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, going back to your experience on the Gold Coast, so for everyone who doesn't really know how far Mackay is from the Gold Coast, it's a plane ride, or hour and a half or something, or it's a long drive. So it is,
2 hours, yeah.
yeah, it is a bit of a trek to get there. So, you're definitely dedicated to learning more and experiencing it, which is fantastic. But what would be one thing that you would like to share? If not, that's okay. Or one thing that you really experienced that was life changing that maybe even some of the people that your clients have possibly also experienced. But what's one thing that you'd like to or yeah would like to
Well,
share?
because I identify as one of those volunteers, I really wanted to have that confirmation when I was under hypnosis, and
Fantastic.
that came, and it was confirmed that I'm a new soul. I've never been on this planet before, or in a physical body. I had other experiences on various level, energetic levels, but never in,
Wow.
which is, why my life is a mess. My body is overreacting to everything on the planet, and we humans are so weird, and so on.
We are, yes. That's amazing that that came out when you had the session. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yes. I mean, yeah, and it was obviously great, and it felt like coming home or going home again. That feeling of, and the love. Oh, just the presence, overwhelming presence of love that engulfed everything and everyone, and it was just I cried most of the time. So when when we do these sessions, we record them, and I cry all through the
But that's fantastic because it sounds like it obviously meant so much to you and that you had that release or you had that awareness that, I think that's really,
Yeah,
really special for you to experience and for also for other people to experience
yeah.
or
And
their
it,
own awakening kind of thing.
yes, and it was, I believe, great for the practitioner in there as well because it was her first time finding a volunteer, a new soul like myself. So it was a special. It's special. I mean, we are, thousands of us here, but it's also they're usually not dropped in the same place. They are, spread about. So it was a special moment for her herself. And I
Wow.
also received physical healing. My hips were out of balance. One leg was shorter than the other, and I made a point to ask to fix my leg and be the same length, and to fix my eyes so I could see without glasses. So for the legs, no problems. They say, oh, we can build cartilage. Oh, no problem. Yes, we do that. It will take
Wow.
3 months. And there's was this one thing that I used to do with my legs that I would tilt my hip because there was that much under my right foot, and they told the practitioner one day she will try to do it and she won't be able to do it, and she will realize, sorry, that the healing is done, and that 100% happened after 3 months.
That is amazing. That's
Amazing.
amazing. And that
Yeah.
you actually felt that and that you noticed that. That's phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, because I'm also very sensitive to energy, so I could feel the energy flowing in my legs and my hips it was like an internal heat, if you understand what I mean. It wasn't coming from outside, it was inside. So yeah. But the other thing that's they have a very great sense of humor. I asked for my eyes to be fixed, and they kept saying, no, she's not ready yet. No, she's not ready. So, but they gave the explanation, which was very insightful for me. So I was afraid, and I'm still am because I'm still waiting for this healing to happen. I was afraid the explanation was that my future would look as bad as my past. So I couldn't
Oh,
see past that, and I wasn't ready to receive the healing. But they say that the healing is there, it's just waiting for me. Once I'm ready, it will just happen. And I believe that.
wow. Wow. That's fantastic. And that you do understand that that happened. It's not that you were waiting, waiting, waiting. You know that you're not ready for it. So,
Yes, yeah, and I kind of knew even before going in. Yeah. And so for other I won't obviously say names, and I would be brief because of confidentiality, but
mm,
I have had great experiences. So a lot of the time is very simple past life that we go into, and very simple sessions, but every now and then you have the ha ha one, and it blows your socks away.
wow.
I had this one particular very early, one of the 25, so maybe it was my seventh or fifth. So I was very early and very like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Mm,
Anyway, this person regressed into a lifetime as a fairy, and then went into her home, which is inner earth. She lived into inner earth, which you can believe it exists or not, but it was her reality. And
mm.
then she went into this vine that was her home, and the vine started talking to me, and
Wow.
like in real time. There is this vine somewhere in inner earth that is talking to me in real time. It's just,
And what kind of things does a vine say to you? Like what?
oh, well, it was talking about the fairy, and some personal things about her, and which I won't go into. But then I ask about, well, what is your life like there? What do you think about outer Earth and what we are doing to the planet? And obviously, it wasn't very happy,
Mm,
but it was uh, trusting in the changing. So he had faith in humanity and our potential to do better. Then,
fantastic.
yeah, it is. And so usually I only see clients once, and sometimes they have a very great connection, and sometimes it's not that great. It takes maybe a few sessions for, to really have that clear connection with your highest self or highest connection, right? So maybe the first one is a very simple life, but then we go on and we experience magic things. There was this one particular person who was one of Jesus' teachers in the Essenes, which, I mean, he was asking Jesus question from me.
Wow.
Like, how cool is
Wow.
that?
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it's wow.
Yeah.
And also this is my, this is where I do the sessions. This is my healing room and my home, and the energy just stepping in through this, it's just stepping into another dimension. And when they come in, um, you can feel it, the electricity in the air, the energy, really high vibrational energy. I don't eat all day because I'm running on this high frequency. It's
Wow.
fantastic.
And to set your room up, have you got crystals? Have you got any other sort of, how did you make that space, or how did you prepare that space for when people come in?
Yeah, I do have little things around, my painting, my candles and crystals around, but that's not what, they're there because I like them. They're pretty.
Mm.
I don't particularly use them. But I do, well, I am also a Reiki practitioner, which, I mean, it's what started everything, really. It's my foundation, it's my way of life. I became a Reiki practitioner in 2015, and that really opened myself up to, my own healing and the divine and everything else.
Mm.
So I use Reiki to cleanse my room, my healing room, and myself. Yeah, and then I do a little prayer, and I ask Dolores Cannon for her help, and she goes, "Yeah, yes, I will help you." And one time she came through a client. She said, "I know that she needs help, but she keeps calling me, so I'm coming."
So you tap into her as well. That's amazing.
I think so. I mean, I think you need to ask a lot of questions during these sessions, and I am a curious person, so that comes easily. But sometimes you find yourself stuck. So because she was the curious person in history, I
That's
think.
right. That's
Um,
right.
I feel her input are necessary to move forward, to give
Okay.
me that insight that I need.
Now, do you want to just maybe talk us through what a session looks like? What someone can expect from when they contact you and organize it, because it's all face to face. Yep.
Absolutely, 100%. Dolores Cannon was very adamant about it. It has to be in person only, and because I cherish her so much and I appreciate her so much, I just follow her to the letter. I
Absolutely.
don't stray at all.
Mm.
So yes, in person, absolutely. I like to have a phone conversation with everybody before booking a in session for various reasons, but I think it's important to have an initial connection with my, with the client and myself.
Mm.
I need to be comfortable. They need to be comfortable, and I need to ask two important questions again from Dolores. So I stick to the script, and the questions are. Well, if you have been diagnosed with schizophrenia or multiple personality disorders, this is not a modality that will benefit you or fit you. So we can't have sessions, unfortunately. But if
Okay.
that's not the case, we go on, we book an appointment. And also because, well, it's a long process. So I like to explain this process on the phone before booking. So what happens in a session? The clients come in. It's a long session. 4, 5, 5.5 hours. 5 hours is usually what I allocate from 9 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. 2:30 p.m. because that's usually the time my daughter is at school and I can do this.
Yeah.
But I usually feel it pretty tight, and if I have more time, I would feel it even more because it's a long process and it takes time. Dolores used to say, as long as it takes. It takes as long as it takes. So
Yeah.
So the client come in, we have an initial conversation where I explain what the session will look like, what's the process, what to expect, and just to, break the ice, so to speak. And then the clients need to talk about their life. We start from usually their current life, their current situation, what's happening in their life, what are they struggling with, whichever level, spiritual, physical, financial, family, whatever it is. And then we go back from infancy all through the life. So, if you're young, it doesn't take long, but if you're
I was going to say, yeah, for me to be a long one. No.
no, you're young. But, 60, 70 years old has a lot of history to share, which is beautiful. I love listening to them. But anyway, we go through everything, and that is probably the most confronting part of the session because we need to talk about everything and everything we need to talk about. I always say to my clients to imagine there is a big rubbish bin in the middle of the room. Everything doesn't serve you, put it in the bin, and your higher self will take it away.
That sounds great.
Right? And you know what? The higher self or the highest connections are already working with them because most of the time they are, talking about the problem or asking themselves questions, and then they come out with the answer. There you go. Thank you. Or although I don't like to identify myself as a channeler, but sometimes messages do come through, and I might say, "Oh, have you thought about these?" or "What do you think of these?" And so healing is throughout the session, not just the hypnotic part. So I ask client to come with a list of questions. We go through the questions, the physical ailments. So I'm sure I know everything that I need to know about them. Because then we do the hypnosis, they are under hypnosis. They can go anywhere, and I need to know what's important to them so that I can ask the correct questions, because maybe I would like to go down the rabbit hole and discover the universe secrets, but that's not relevant to them. They want to know what to do with their lives now.
Absolutely.
So then I need to stick with what's important to them. So when we are all ready, we do the hypnosis, which feels like a guided meditation. And there is a certain amount of time that we allocate that session with the hypnosis. Again, Dolores recommends that time, so I stick with that time. I'm not going to say what it is because it's important to keep
when
it
you have the session that you understand. And also, like I've had a session with you, which was fantastic, actually. So thank you so much. But I do remember that we recorded the hypnosis. We didn't record the questions because you didn't really need to record when you're doing the background. But because going through that guided process, that's you don't ever sometimes remember what's coming out or what's being said.
No. So the induction is to help you reach to relax, obviously, and to reach that level of trance And that's why we usually go into a past life first. Or, well, that used to be the case most of the time, but now because we are all ascending and vibrating at a higher speed, sometimes past lives are not relevant anymore, and there are other things that come out. But we do that exploring first, and then when we are ready, we call the highest self, the higher self in. Sorry, and I ask question on behalf of the client to the higher self.
Fantastic.
So the client is it, it's in a very relaxed state, almost as if they are sleeping, but they are speaking throughout the session. And then when it's done, I wake them up and we have a bit of a discussion on the most important things that came up during the session. And then they can go home and do their homework, which is very important. And sorry, I know I'm talking too much. I'm Italian.
No, the information that you're providing is fantastic. So
Okay,
yeah,
thank
please
you.
continue. Absolutely.
Um, the recording, it's very important. So people need to listen to the recording as much as they can, especially if there are, very substantial things happening in the session, like the healing of the body. For me, I needed to listen to my recording for 3 months because that's what it needed to happen for the healing to happen. It needed to happen that way. For the first week, I listened to it all the time, multiple times a day, and then a little bit less, but still. What it does is when we wake up, usually from a session, the first thing the analytical mind comes in and say, I made it all up. That was what was that? I made it all up. So you don't believe it.
Mm,
That's why it's important to listen to the recording to make those connection in the brain, those synapses, they need to be going so that your body then manifests what happened in that session. Because there is a version of you before the session and a version of you after the session. If you do the homework, listen to your recording, and whatever the higher self has told you to do, like if you want to lose weight and it tells you to go to swimming 3 times a week, that's what you need to do. You need to go to swimming 3 times a week. So if you do
yes.
the homework and you listen to the recording, then you will have the results. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now that's because I had my session a few years ago, I think, with you. Now I'm going to go back and listen to it again. So
Yeah. Look, you can always use it as a healing tool, and that's what I've done for myself in the past. I've been very unwell after my started my journey with QHHT, and it doesn't matter if you are talking about different topics, you are still energetically with your higher self. They are still giving you healing, and the inside will pop into your head anyway, or they will come through a song you're listening, or through a friend who's talking to you, or a movie you are watching.
mm. But those synchronicities and those things, yeah, I experience that all the time, and I imagine that you do as well. That, it could be, yeah, you're thinking about something, and it's a thought. It's not what you're saying, and then you're right, a song comes up, or you see even a number plate, or you look and there's a building with a sign, or there's something that, and it's
Yeah.
just a thought in your mind, and there it right is in front of you. So yeah,
The answers, you ask the questions, the answer will come.
that's right.
If
That's
if
right.
you trust and have faith, it will come.
And are there any common questions that you get asked? Like, for confidentiality, I don't need to, but are there certain things that come up a lot with your clients that there
Yeah.
might some
So
common things?
a lot of the time people come to well, usually what happens is, or they come to me by word of mouth because someone had a session, or actually more often they come directly from the website, the QHHT website, because they have discovered Dolores. They have heard about the technique through her books, and so they go into the QHHT official's website, look for practitioners, and they found me as a local practitioner. So they tend to do that when they are lost.
Yes.
Okay, so they are looking for answers. They are looking for themselves. They are looking for healing. Actually, if you want to put, do you think you can put up
Oh,
that
the
bubble?
the bubble. Yeah, I was actually going to say let's do that now because I think that a lot of people are really I think people want to know what their life purpose is, isn't like, they want to know
That's
why they're here and what's, yeah.
That's usually the first question. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Yeah, that's the universal question that everybody asks. And but look, sometimes people come and don't ask that question because they're so focused on the problem at hand in their life, and it's all about that problem. And then
Mm.
I just ask, oh, do you know what your purpose in this lifetime is? And they go, no. Do you want to know? So I just added to the list, but yeah. Um, so if you can see the screen, this is a lovely
You can see the
outlook
screen,
of
Luana. You can
practice.
see. Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely.
It's a lovely, easy outlook of what QHHT is, which I explained before. And as for my personal experience, you can have physical healing, you can have emotional healing, you can have spiritual healing. And they always give only what you can handle, you and myself as a practitioner. They won't give us more than we can't handle. And
Mm.
also what is appropriate for you at the time. So it wasn't appropriate to give me the healing of my eyesight, so they didn't give it to me. Uh,
Mm.
and other things I had later another session, and they're very careful to say things to me because I'm so open and so out there. So they say that I need to work on things on my own. They don't want to give it too much, right? But
Mm.
that there's a lot that can happen in a session. And the benefits, you can find your purpose, you can find healing, you can find the answers of the questions that you always ask yourself. Why am I here? Why did I choose those parents? For God's sake.
Yeah, we do choose our parents, don't we? Yeah,
Right,
sometimes.
why? Yeah,
Yeah.
why did I go through that experience in my life, and why did that happen to me? And I always say I send an email to all my clients before the session, and I write in there, if you could have God on the line, on the phone, what would you ask? And
Mm.
that kind of answers you can feel or you can receive, sorry. And the results, well, for me it was a life-changing session, and usually it is, especially if you do the homework and you allow it to be. But no matter the level of the experience that you have during a session, it's uplifting always. You get clarity always. You feel much better about yourself and the world afterwards always. So there's always benefits. Even,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I
And
remember I remember asking you after my session, and I remember saying, why did you turn the light on? And because I remember there was a certain part where I just had this beam of light right coming in, and there was the window there, but the curtain was closed.
yeah.
And I think you said, well, that would have been your higher self or a beam of light or a beam of energy or something like that. That would have, and because I just thought you turned a certain light on, but you said no, it was all the same lighting for the whole session. So yeah.
Yes, yeah, and sometimes there's smell or voices or other weird things happening.
Mm.
Um, I explain, I think, the process in depth, so I won't go there. But who needs it? Anyone? Ooh, sorry. Anyone who's curious or who is going through a hard time or who needs answers. As I said, the only restriction is people with schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder. And well, Dolores also she was pretty clear about 18 years old of age.
Mm.
Um, she only accepted very few special cases from 16 and 17 years old teenagers, but with, obviously the consent from parents and all of that. So, but
A
it's
certain
also weird.
level of maturity.
Yeah, yeah, and I've never done it because I feel, well, if it's underage, the parents need to be in the room, and I don't feel that the kid can really freely speak. So I always advise to wait and
Mm.
when it's the appropriate time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to stop. I'll stop that
Yeah.
sharing there now.
Thank you.
So QHHT, and it's a form of hypnotherapy, but what would you consider to be the difference between just your clinical hypnotherapy and QHHT? What would be, yeah, what would you say would be the differences between those two?
I've never experienced clinical hypnotherapy, so I can't really answer that question.
Okay.
But it is a form of hypnosis. We take people, well, the induction is to take people to the appropriate time and place, which in the past, as I say, was a past life. And it's not always the case these days. It can be, well, we go and travel through the universe and the stars and the planets, and or go to inner Earth and sit on a vine. So it can be anything these days, but that's usually what happens.
And
Um,
have you had any people experience any negative things that you've had to maybe stop, or have you ever had anything like that happen?
Not negative things, but there was a case of a person releasing a lot of repressed anger they didn't even know they had. Um, and it was so strong. Obviously, the higher self really wanted that to happen, that she was feeling quite sick. And I had to go and get a bucket because I thought, dude, she's going to vomit now.
Wow,
But
wow.
then I asked for more healing, for more energy. I asked the higher self intervention, and it didn't happen. But yeah, that was very close.
Wow. Wow. And she felt that release.
She
Obviously,
felt the
she's
release. Yeah, she felt the release. And because I'm an empath, I usually feel what the client is going through. So I was feeling very sick myself, and I was like, okay, yeah, bucket for you, a bucket for me.
let's get two buckets.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you did also mention that you're a Reiki practitioner as well. So you incorporate that into your QHHT sessions, or it's just a part of who you are. Is
I
that
think
how
it's
it?
a part of who I am because you can really incorporate that. I'm a purist, I think. If I'm doing one thing, I'm doing one thing. If I'm doing the other thing,
Fantastic.
I'm
Yeah.
doing the other thing. So I do receive clients for Reiki treatment, and they are just Reiki treatments. And QHHT, it's just QHHT, but Reiki is my way of life. I practice Reiki on myself every day and it just flows. So, yes, sometimes the client is talking about their life and it's very, emotional and they're going through some purging. So I feel the energy of Reiki flowing through me to the client, but it's not like when I'm doing a Reiki session that I'm intentionally calling Reiki in and putting my hands on the client.
Okay. I think having those different modalities and different, I guess, things in your toolbox, so to speak,
Yes.
it just makes it a bit more holistic as well, so that you can feel that energy and you can feel that flow. So yeah, that's really great.
Absolutely. And I recommend it to everybody. Another amazing tool that I think everybody should have is the Emotion Code book from Dr. Bradley. I mean, I sometimes have clients. I'm not a practitioner, but I practice so much on myself that I've developed quite a sensitivity to it. It happens quickly and it flows well. So sometimes I help my clients in that sense as well. but all you need is the book and just practice, practice, practice.
It's a
And
great book. It's a great modality, the emotion
isn't it?
code.
It's so it might take a bit of time, but it's so great because it helps you find trapped emotion in your body and release them. And I think everybody needs to do that.
I think many of us have trapped emotions, don't we? We store it in certain parts of our bodies as well. So
Well, if you have any physical ailment, there is a trapped emotion there at the base.
absolutely, I totally believe in that as well. Absolutely. Now we've talked about, well, the emotion code by Dr. Bradley
Yeah.
Nelson. Is it Dr.
Yes.
Brad? Yeah. And Dolores, she's got quite a few books.
Yes.
So do you have any other recommendations of books or even videos or any channels on possibly even YouTube that people might want to look at, or do you have any other recommendations that you think if people want to
Um,
learn a bit
well,
more?
absolutely. You read all the books from Dolores Cannon, and
Mm,
they are so insightful. They are so full of they will blow your mind away. And you can go on the order where that she has written them or she has published them or just whatever is calling you. I've started from one of the latest and then I haven't read them all. There's few of them.
there is
21,
quite a few.
I can't remember how many,
Yeah.
but they're amazing tools and they will open up your mind to possibilities that you might have not even thought about so far. But yeah, the emotion code, absolutely. If you haven't done Reiki as first degree Reiki, you have to do that. That's a must.
Yes.
It's just a very simple but very nurturing and loving modality to hear yourself, to connect to um, the divine, to the absolute universe instead of just living in this relative universe. And
Mm.
yeah, a great foundational tool.
Energy healing is very powerful.
It is,
Absolutely.
it is. And it heals in all levels. Now, there is another book that has really touched me and again helped me bring peace to myself and to my identity, and that is the Sophia Code by Kaya Ra.
Mm.
Um, but it is quite an I don't know how to call it.
It's
It's
a heavy read. It's very, yeah.
quite advanced technology. So just do your research and be very sure you want to read that one.
It is. There's so much. It's very condensed and it's quite technical in some aspects as well in that
Yeah,
too.
so what it does, there is this dragon tribe of mentors that you meet and do an initiation with through the book, and they start working with you. Isis, Arthur, Green Tara, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Queen Kuan Yin. Oh my gosh, Kuan Yin. She's. Can you that? And there is a lot of healing happening when you do the initiation and a lot of uh, challenging challenges to face. So it's a great book.
Mm.
Again, I've learned so much about myself through the book, and I healed so much. So I will always recommend it, but you need to be ready for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Now, we'll wrap it up, but we'll put all of your details in the description below the video. So access to your Facebook page, which is Highest Connection Facebook page. And that's how people can connect with you through Facebook. And you've got all your details on there.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. And definitely I can highly recommend that you book a session with Luana because it really is a very, very powerful. I've done the QHHT as well as as Reiki with Luana, and she really is a very it's a fantastic. She's very you. I think you're very connected. Actually, I think that, and you help us connect to our higher self as well.
Yes.
And so I think
Thank
that
you.
you're
I was thinking there's something that I need to say, and we haven't covered it. Yeah.
What you there's so
My that's my aim and my purpose and my passion is not to heal others, but to give them the tools to connect to the highest connection or higher self and do the healing themselves and teach them how to do it. So
I think that's a fantastic message because I say the same thing when I'm not a healer or I'm not healing you. We're giving you the tools to be able to heal yourself. And I say that as well. So thank you. I think that's a great message.
yes, thank you. And that's why again the recording is so important because then you really don't need me again. You know, if you practice connecting to your higher self on your own with meditation by listening to a recording, whatever technique you want to use, then you can access that part of yourself by yourself all the time. Which is
That's
great.
right. You certainly can. You certainly can. Well, thank you so much, Luana. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Danny.
And if people want to connect with you, please check the links below in below the video of how to connect with Luana. But thank you so much. Really appreciate you, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Namaste. Bye.
Namaste.